Good morning. Happy Saturday. Today is November 4th and it's been a minute since I posted a video, and you know, it is what it is at this point. Like, there's no reason for me to continue to talk about what takes me away from booktube for long periods of time. I just got a busy life and I don't have a lot of time, and the time I do have I spend doing other things. I just get the urge to make videos every now and again and I do it, and I'm just leaning into that at this point because I'd rather produce content that I enjoy making but it doesn't come out as often, rather than just putting a lot of content out that is surface level and not fun to watch. Today I'm going to be doing a little like weekend in my life, or I guess this weekend I'm going to be doing like a little weekend in my life because I have some fun things planned and I really wanted to document them in video format. I didn't know if I even should because I think that there's going to be little to no reading in this video, and this is obviously a booktube channel, but then I thought, you know, whatever, like, it's my life and I think it's interesting and I am gonna have a good weekend, so I should document it. It's currently almost 10, so I've been up for a little while, but I haven't been out of bed for very long. But today I'm planning on making from scratch completely a pumpkin pie. I volunteered to make pumpkin pie for our Thanksgiving coming up obviously at the end of the month, and I've never made pumpkin pie before. I actually really don't even like pumpkin pie that much, but my great-grandmother, who passed away like 4 or 5 years ago at this point, was always the person that made pumpkin pie, and her pumpkin pie was so good and nobody has attempted to do it again since she passed away. We just bought like store-bought pumpkin pies because hers was excellent, and it's hard to replicate excellence, especially someone that was in your family for so long that made pumpkin pie for so long. But this year I just kind of got the urge to, well, I'm getting more into baking. I have been baking a lot this year. It's something that has brought me a lot of joy over the last few months, is just baking. I'm really slowly building up my repertoire of baked goods. So one day I just texted my mom out of the blue and I was like, I think I want to do pumpkin pie this year for Thanksgiving. I'm not using my great-grandmother's recipe, which I guess is probably sacrilege at this point, but I am going to attempt to make a pumpkin pie. And I thought, because, you know, it's like pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving. Pumpkin pie is like the quintessential Thanksgiving dessert. I should probably do a practice run before the actual day of Thanksgiving just to make sure that it turns out okay, and then I have my like ratios and everything down for the actual day of Thanksgiving. So that's what we're doing today, is I'm going to test run my pumpkin pie and see how it goes. I do have to go to Walmart this morning because I still need a few things. Well, I need a few things for the pumpkin pie. I made a little list last night. I've never made my own pie crust. It is something that has eluded me, or I mean, I don't really make a lot of pie, so why would I have had a reason to make my own pie crust? But I am going to be doing it completely from scratch. I'm making my own pie crust, making my own filling, doing all of that. So I'm excited. I think it's going to go great. I've got delusional confidence in myself, but pretty much everything I've baked up to this point has always turned out good. So I can't imagine that the pumpkin pie wouldn't also turn out good. So yeah, it's just gonna be a little weekend in my life. It's not gonna be really a reading vlog. It's more just gonna be like a life vlog, which I think is okay. Now I'm gonna go make myself some breakfast because I'm very hungry. It's almost 10 and I'm hungry. And then I'm gonna go to the store. I'm gonna get started on the pumpkin pie. We'll see how that goes, and I'll take you along for the journey. Right now I'm gonna go make some breakfast and we're gonna just see where the day takes us. Well, I know where it's gonna take us. It's gonna take us to all those things that I just said, but you know what I mean. The lighting is not very good right now, but I'll fix that. When I actually like get ready to make the pie, I will fix the lighting. But I'm gonna show you, I just got back from Walmart. I'm gonna show you what I got. So let's talk about the non-pumpkin pie related things really quick. I got some bacon because I'm gonna make Cole a full-on breakfast in the morning because we haven't done that in a while. So I got bacon for that. And then I already put these in the fridge. I have a little egg container in my fridge, but I did also get some eggs. I got a restock on my brown sugar. I still have some brown sugar and probably enough brown sugar to make the pie, but I might do some other baking this weekend, like tomorrow. So I'm gonna need the brown sugar anyway. So I got it. And then I got some plastic wrap, some saran wrap for the pie dough. I also got some quart-sized freezer bags because we were out. And then I got a pie plate. I think it's like an Anchor brand pie plate that I've used a couple of times to make pie. But this is a deeper pie dish and I really wanted something a little deeper for the pumpkin pie. So I got this. This is a 9.5 inch pie plate. It's Pyrex. It was $5. This was $5 at Walmart. And even though I already had a pie plate, I wanted to get this one. So I got it. Oh, and I also got a new silicone baking mat. We have one of these that we got for our wedding and we use it all the time. And this one has like, it's really cool. It has like a circle in the middle so you can roll out a pie dough into a perfect circle. But it also has, oh, it's upside down. It also has like a ruler across the top and like conversions, measurements and temperature conversions, which I just think is really cool. So this was also only $5. Planning on using the silicone mat to roll out the pie dough later because I don't want to put flour all over my countertop. One, my countertop is not like the cleanest. It's a tile countertop, which is so annoying. Obviously I didn't pick it. This house was built in the 80s. And so the dirt gets like in the grout and stuff. And so I always have to like put something down when I'm cooking on the surface or like using the surface for prep or anything. I also got a new kitchen scale because ours stopped working and also it was cheap. Our old one was cheap. It probably just needed new batteries, but I thought, you know what? This is a perfect opportunity to buy the one that I've had my eye on for a while. So I got this KitchenAid one. I'm sure there's even nicer ones out there, but as a person who's still sort of just getting into baking, or like just getting better at baking, I'm making a lot of noise and a mess. This one will do the trick. And it's so nice. It's glass top. The other one we had was not glass top. It needs, oh, it has batteries. Perfect. I figured I would have to put batteries in it, but it already has batteries. Oh, and then for the actual pumpkin pie, I got heavy whipping cream, which is in the fridge. And I'm not going to get it back out. I got a jar of molasses and the pumpkin puree. I got 2 cans because I just went ahead and bought the can that I'll need for Thanksgiving. I got the Libby's brand. They had surprisingly many options. And I went with the middle ground option because I wasn't going to spend $4 on a can of pumpkin pie puree or pumpkin puree until I knew I was actually good at making pumpkin pie. So that's where we're at. I'm about to make the dough now. So let me fix the lighting situation and we'll see what we can do. Is that lighting better? I don't think so. I can't really tell. The pie dough, the pie crust, the pie base is okay, I'm using a recipe from a girl that I follow on TikTok whose baked goods always look incredible. And she says that pie dough is a 3-to-1 ratio. So it's flour, butter, water. I'm gonna use this glass bowl so that you can see. I don't necessarily think I really need to use the glass bowl, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm gonna do grams. So we're gonna do 165 grams of flour. Okay, too much. Let's see. Okay, 110 grams of cold butter, unsalted. So let's get the butter. Oh, it's 111. 1 stick of butter is 111 grams. Okay, I'm just gonna do 111 because I'm not gonna cut off 1 gram of butter. That's annoying. I think I'm supposed to kind of cube this. So let's cube it. Try not to touch it too much with my hands because that warms it up and we want it to be cold. I don't have a pastry cutter, so I'm just gonna use a fork and we're gonna like mix it in, like the bottom of a fork. I think that people recommend using like a food processor, but I don't have one of those either. Also, I was gonna add like just a pinch of salt to this. I think I need to get a pastry cutter before I do this, or a food processor. I have a blender. No, I'm not gonna do that. I don't really know exactly what it's supposed to look like, but I think it's getting there. It's hard to tell, but it's like the butter's still really cubed. But it's sort of mixing in. Okay, I'm gonna do the water now. So we want 55 grams of ice cold water. Oh, that's too much. 55. I should have used a smaller bowl. I'm gonna just improvise here and put just a tiny bit more water in just to see how it goes. This might be a mistake, but I think I should have just used a smaller bowl. I think this is what it's supposed to look like. Kind of chunky, crumbly. Okay, it's definitely getting doughy. So I think, I don't know. All right, now we're gonna take our saran wrap. I'm just gonna take a big old thing of it. Hope that is good enough. And we're just gonna take our dough and we're gonna put it right sort of in the middle. We're gonna wrap it up. Okay. And then I'm gonna take a rolling pin and just sort of roll it out. Okay, I think this is what it's supposed to look like. It looks right to me. So this needs to go in the fridge for minimum 2 hours. So that'll be perfect. And then after that, we'll make the pie. Okay, it's been a couple of hours and I am ready to start on the pie. I washed my silicone mat. I washed my new pie dish. I've got my pie dough ready to go. We're gonna keep our fingers crossed that this isn't a disaster. I'm gonna put a little bit, just a little bit of flour on the mat and on the rolling pin. Okay, it's not staying together very well. This is really bad. This is really not going well for me. I'm gonna start over. I formed it back into a ball. I'm gonna see if I can get it to roll out a little bit better. I need a new rolling pin. This rolling pin is crap. Do you hear me? I need a new rolling pin. This rolling pin is crap.
Why didn't you buy one when you bought everything else at the store?
Because I didn't think about it. Well, I'm really glad that I practiced because this would have been a disaster if I had been doing this on Thanksgiving Day. I probably would have started crying in the middle of the kitchen. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put this back in the fridge and let it get cold again for like 10 minutes. And then we're gonna try again. All right, round two, we're gonna try again. I'm going to put some flour here, and then I think I'll put just a little bit on top of the dough as well. And we'll just see if that works a little better because it's pretty sticky. And I don't know that it's supposed to be as sticky as it is. I feel confident that we're gonna make it happen this time. I did it! I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Oh. It worked.
What?
Are you okay? Yeah.
Made it roll?
Uh-huh. I did your flour trick on top.
Oh, so I was right.
You were right.
Person doesn't bake knows how to bake better than you.
Shut up. All right, so now we're gonna put it in the pie dish. Oh, I am so proud of this dough. That is just, oh my goodness. I've never been prouder of anything in my life. We have to sort of like, I think it's called blind baking, where you just like pre-bake the crust. So I have to do that. All right, we need to do a little egg wash. For a blind bake, you have to weigh the bottom down so that it doesn't bubble and rise. So I'm just gonna take some parchment paper. And we're just gonna cut like a circle for the bottom, obviously. And then obviously you need something to hold your parchment paper down. You can buy like actual pie weights. I think they're just like ceramic little balls that you can use. But you can also just use like beans or chickpeas or whatever. So I'm just gonna use these red beans that I have that I don't think we're ever actually gonna eat. And then this is gonna get baked for 25 minutes at 375. And then I'll tell you what to do after that. Okay, I cleaned up my space and now we're ready to make our actual pie filling. So you need to get 2 mixing bowls, one for your wet, one for your dry. I just wrote the recipe down on a sticky note because obviously I haven't made it yet. So before I write it on like an actual recipe card or I save it somewhere, I wanted to try it. Okay, so in your big bowl, well, I mean, whatever size bowl you have, you're gonna put 1.5 cups of pumpkin. I think I'm just gonna scoop it into this 1/2 cup and measure it precisely. I think it's basically 1 can, but I could be wrong. There's that much left. Oh, you can't even see that at all. There's just like probably maybe 1/4 cup of pumpkin left in the can. And honestly, it probably wouldn't be a huge deal just to use all of it, but I'm gonna follow this recipe exactly this time and then we'll see. 2 eggs. And 3 tablespoons of molasses. I'm just gonna dip my tablespoon directly into the jar because it's a brand new jar. Okay. All right, well that was probably a tiny bit more than 3 tablespoons because I did have some leakage. And then we're also gonna do 3/4 of a cup plus 2 tablespoons of whipping cream. That's an annoying measurement. Okay. And now I need 3/4 of a cup. And I very annoyingly am using 3 different measuring devices for this cream. And now we're gonna whisk that together. My favorite whisk. You just wanna make sure like the molasses gets pretty well mixed in, I think. I'm gonna go rogue. I'm gonna go rogue because I had this thought earlier and I meant to get it out, but I'm also gonna put just a dash of vanilla. Like a teaspoon maybe. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm just gonna. I mean, I already did, so can't take it back now. Now we're gonna do the dry ingredients and I'm gonna measure them like this. Okay, so we're gonna do 110 grams or 2/3 of a cup of brown sugar. 100 grams of white sugar. I really should have brought all the ingredients over at one time, huh? White granulated sugar. I don't know if I have to specify that, but okay, so it should be 210. And then just 2 tablespoons of flour, which shocked me when I watched her make this recipe because I would imagine it would need much more flour than that. We need 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. I'm gonna dirty up every dish in my house for this pie. Pinch of clove. Can you come open this for me? I also forgot that I barely have any ground ginger. So we're gonna do our best to get some ginger out of here. I think that can classify as a pinch if I can get most of it in here instead of all over my hand. And then a pinch of clove. And then 1/4 teaspoon of salt. All right, so now we're just gonna mix our wet and dry. There's what it looks like. It's really dark. You can barely see. I'm sorry I didn't turn the other light on. But it's pretty soupy. It's okay if it's wet. Like, it's okay if it's really wet. It should be pretty wet. The crust still has a little bit of time. So I'm gonna clean up and then I'll come back when the crust is, or like, yeah, when the crust is done and we can pour the pie filling in. I already see a problem. Crap. All right, well, I don't think my pie weights were, my beans were heavy enough because it did still kind of fluff a little bit. Now we need to dock it, which just means that we're gonna poke holes. Yep, it baked. Shit. I'm still gonna do this. We're gonna put this back in the oven for like 5 minutes. 4 or 5 minutes. Okay, the timer once again just went off, so let's see how this pie crust looks now. Well, it is what it is. All right, so now we have to lower the temperature of the oven to 325. So we're gonna turn it to 325. And then just remix because it's been sitting for a few minutes. And then we're just gonna pour it in. I can tell you right now, this is way more pie filling than will fit in this pie. Or not. We are dangerously close to a bubble right here because the pie crust, well, you know, the pie crust has been our enemy all day long. Even though I know for a fact the oven's not down to 325, I'm gonna go ahead and put this in because our friends are coming for dinner and I need the pie to be done so I can use the oven for dinner. This is gonna go in the oven for like 60 minutes. I'm gonna put it in for, I think I'm gonna put it in for 50 and then check it because my oven is very temperamental and I don't wanna overcook it. So, see you in like a little bit. Okay, it stayed in the oven for about an hour, a little bit more than an hour. Obviously the little center part is all messed up because that's where I tested it and then it didn't really smooth back over. My oven, like I said, is temperamental. So I think it will look differently when I bake it in my mom's oven on actual Thanksgiving, but we'll see. We'll see how it tastes in a little bit when we eat it. I need to let it completely cool and then and we'll have it later. But now our friends are coming over and I told my mom and my best friend 6-ish and they are notoriously early for everything and it is currently 6:02. Well, actually I think it's, yeah, 5:59. So I'm honestly shocked they're not here yet, but I gotta get started on dinner. Luckily, I already prepped everything for dinner for tonight earlier this week. We're gonna have chicken enchiladas with a salsa verde and I made the salsa verde earlier this week and I already boiled and shredded the chicken. So literally all I have to do for dinner is heat it up, build the enchiladas, put them in the oven, and then make the rice and beans, which will be easy. So let's go for it. Margot's about to try the pumpkin pie and she's gonna give us her honest opinion, which is probably that it's shit.
Okay, to be fair, it's not my favorite dessert.
Yeah, me either.
But I do love pumpkin coffee.
It won't hurt my feelings if you don't like it.
Okay. Well,
Eat the piece.
Oh, it looks like it needs to be cooked more in the middle.
Doing?
a little soft.
I learned a few things in the process.
You can put, and I just do this with my cherry pies, to keep the pie crust from burning. You can put foil around the edge of it. Just the edge of it. So you just put it around. And then it keeps the crust from burning on the outside. I mean, the pie crust is cooked good. Almost the filling a little bit, but it tastes, the flavor is very good.
Good.
It's not too anything.
Really? Well, that's good. Cole's gonna try the pie now. Try the pie.
Yeah. Tastes like pumpkin pie. Sort of.
Sort of? What does that mean? Give me your honest opinion.
It's like an earthy pumpkin pie.
Earthy?
Like a natural pumpkin pie.
As opposed to
An artificial.
You know,
an overly sweet one?
a pie that tastes like a pumpkin pie, you know? Like you buy at a store.
So like preservatives and artificial sweeteners and all of that.
Yeah.
It's more natural.
Yeah, like less sugary. More natural.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, I guess it's a good thing. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm used to sweeter pumpkin pies. So it tastes different, but not bad.
Yeah, different but good. Okay. Our friends just left. It is currently almost midnight, and the consensus on the pie was that it was pretty good, but it needed to be a little bit sweeter, and I think that's because I added too much molasses. I really do think that like kind of bitter, earthy flavor was really coming from the molasses. So I think for the actual Thanksgiving day, I will be doing 2 tablespoons or maybe even a little bit less of molasses, and maybe like a pinch more vanilla. Just add a little sweetness to it, because I think that overall it turned out really good. But obviously I learned a few things in the process. I need to get more beans for pie weights, or I need to get some pie weights. What else do I need? The dough. I need to figure out the dough situation. Like, I need to get a food processor or get a pastry cutter or something. I asked for a food processor, a specific food processor for Christmas. So obviously I won't have that prior to Thanksgiving. If I get that for Christmas, I won't have it prior to Thanksgiving. So I really just hesitate to spend any money on a food processor now if I'm gonna get the one that I actually want for Christmas. Yeah, just less molasses, a little more vanilla. I think overall, like, the texture was fine. Also, they said that it probably would taste better if it was chilled. So I need to remember, or I need to think about baking it well in advance of Thanksgiving lunch. Like, I need to get up and make it like first thing in the morning so that it has plenty of time to cool and rest and chill. But yeah, it was relatively easy. Like, the recipe was relatively easy. I wrote it down for my recipe box. I was planning on making this a whole weekend vlog, but I think at this point it's probably long enough with like all the making the pie and everything. So I think I will cut it off here. I hope that you enjoyed this little like day in my life making pumpkin pie with me, because I actually really liked doing this. It was sort of different, a little out of my comfort zone in terms of like what I like to post to my channel, but I just had so much fun making pie. It was a good day. I had a good day. I'm really glad that I did the test run of the pumpkin pie, because the dough, obviously I had a little mishap with the dough, and so now I know what I need to do for the future. And then you know, just some little things here and there. My family is very particular about what they like. Like, a few years ago for Thanksgiving, I volunteered to make deviled eggs, and I made them a little bit differently. I used my best friend's deviled egg recipe, which is slightly different than your like traditional deviled egg recipe. And I got so much heat for changing the deviled eggs, because everybody wanted like the traditional standard classic deviled eggs, and mine were different. And so I'm always hesitant to introduce new recipes to my family, just because they like what they like, and I totally respect that. I like what I like. I also like to try new things, and the fact that nobody in our family has made a homemade pumpkin pie for 5 or 6 years, and I'm doing it, and it might be a little different than what they're used to, but I think it'll turn out really well, and I'm excited to serve it to them on Thanksgiving. So I guess that's gonna do it for this little day in my life. Thank you for making pumpkin pie with me. Thank you for hanging out all day long and just being a sounding board for all of the hang-ups and roadblocks that I got into while I was working on this pie. What is your favorite Thanksgiving food, or what is like the recipe that you make every year for your family's Thanksgiving? And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, or if it's not Thanksgiving in the country you live in, what's your favorite food to eat in general? Like, I want to know, because I love food, and I have gotten so much more into cooking in the last year. I've really found so much joy and passion in cooking. So let me know what your favorite thing to cook, eat, whatever is. I'd really love to know. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, even though it was a little different from the normal content that I put out, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.